Welcome to the 180 podcast brought to you by BTFU. We are now at the business end of the season and only 4 teams remain. It's the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers, and we've got the Melbourne Storm up against the Sharks on Friday night. We're going to talk all things prelim finals into the grand final. We'll also have a look at the Raiders and the Bulldogs, who went out in straight sets. Welcome to... Should I say the great like last week?
The greats. Braith. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Very good. You know what? Honestly, I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, I don't
As you
blame
can see, I'm already a mess. But I'm just limping in here. You know, it's been a long year with doing the podcast and 360 and you know, managing the boys, and you know, I've only got 2 weeks, and we're doing sort of 4 nights a week with 360 now into the, you know, the coverage on the weekends that I've been hosting. So. Man, I need a break.
You know what, Braith? You got me on 360. I've done a couple of things with Triple M. Obviously, with this podcast, you don't realise how mentally draining it is. And I'm doing 3% of what you're doing. So, mate, not long to go.
Not long to go. We're going to Bali.
We are going to Bali.
We're going to Bali.
Can't wait.
Going to book it today.
Today.
We'll go for a week just after the GF.
Yep.
Does that coincide with Toolies
Aaron
again?
Mace. I'll introduce Aaron Mace too. Sorry.
Sorry. Does that coincide with Schoolies last
No,
night?
I've timed it so it's not Toolies.
We're not going down to Seminyak anyway. We're staying up can we say where we're staying? We better not say where we're staying.
Why you think? What's going to happen?
Daily
I don't
Mail
want the
flying
paparazzi.
over.
No,
I
one
don't
gives a
need
shit
the
that much,
paparazzi.
mate.
I don't need the paparazzi flying over to take photos of you, buddy.
Mate, well, they'd be following us over there.
No, you. I said you.
We're going to Uluwatu for the week. A lot of it's going to be training, right?
All of it's training,
And
mate.
this is serious.
Every
I know
day.
people are probably. I don't think
I'm
yeah,
pumped.
fucking bullshit. But we'll train most mornings. We'll enjoy have a culinary experience over there. The food's unreal.
Mate,
over
I've got all the restaurants lined up for every night.
Of course you do. You come back fucking looking like
Like
Oprah Winfrey. So I'm pretty sure you know what restaurants we've got to go to.
Mate.
But you're looking good.
I'm feeling good. I've actually been overtraining. You know what? And it's something that I think all ex-athletes do, is that you get to a point, like I can't walk into a gym and walk out exhausted. If I don't absolutely fuck myself in that gym, I feel like I haven't trained, you know, and you get to an age where you just need to listen to your body a bit. So I've been a bit flat.
I know what it's like. I do the same.
You train hard, mate.
only know one way, and then you kind of just hit a brick wall, right? But I'm trying to push through it because summer's coming, Ren, and
That's right,
you
mate.
want to get your shirt off, right? And become.
Mate, I want to get my shirt off in Bali.
Mate, how long? You've got 2 weeks.
I've got 2 weeks. Oh,
Reni Matua,
You'd be
brought to you by
comfortable.
Ozempic.
Would you do
mate.
Ozempic? You don't need
Nah,
Ozempic.
don't need that, mate. I train hard
You
enough.
lose weight quick. You're just a bit frustrated because you put more than what you thought you'd put on, it's harder to lose it, right? But then it just strips off straight away.
Well, let's hope it starts stripping today.
You got to stick to your guns though, because
That's it.
It's easy to throw the towel.
Of course.
So you're on track. Everything's going
on track,
good.
everything's good.
And you're on 360.
360 tonight.
By
Can't
the time
wait.
this podcast goes on to all the platforms, probably be a bit late. But
Fuck, I was nervous.
did you enjoy last week?
I loved it. I was nervous because I thought you were going to make me sweat. And
I wanted to. I went easy on you, to be honest.
You did. I
don't
thought,
know. Maybe tonight won't be
am I going to
different.
be a little bit cocky here and try and have a go at you? And I thought,
Well, you said we did at the start. You threw a shit joke out of it.
I know. I just got to understand the etiquette of the conversation.
You can come at me. I'm just
But
be
tonight-
ready for the return serve.
But tonight, I'm feeling confident.
Fuck, we'll see where this lands. Mace, check in with you. How you going, buddy?
Getting there.
Yeah.
First off, I would like to send condolences to the Ibrahim family, very close friend of ours,
Habs.
Michael Ibrahim Habs. His mother passed away, 90 years old. I went and sat with her for 3 hours yesterday and we just talked. And as you guys know, I had to go to Services New South Wales, change my middle name to Sheen after last week. But no, I'd been going through a bit. I'd gone through a breakup. I'd gone through evolution of life and business and stuff. And you guys have been amazing support. Had a bit of a rough weekend.
Yep.
And then actually sitting there and sat with Habs, it showed just how precious life is. It's probably going to be deep. But
No, but that's good.
No,
Yeah.
We have a laugh and we take the piss out of each other on this podcast. I'm a big advocate for telling it how it is and your
100%.
feelings, and I really respect that. It was a tough weekend for you, but mate.
But it was, you know what? It was the thing is at times, I think you can do it, and whether you're a professional athlete or someone who's in business and lives outside the probably norm to 9 to 5, and it goes with everyone though, and it just pressure builds up, and you can numb things with alcohol, drugs, and all this sort of thing.
It's all about routine,
It's all about routine,
training, talking to your mates, working on yourself.
And that's all. I think the one thing I've been so lucky is we've built such a good friendship group around us that we can talk openly, and the support was
trust
good.
the process. As we spoke, was a few days ago. It's going to hurt. Everything hurts for a while. And you live inside this phone booth where you think that is reality until those doors open, you step outside and think, fuck, what was I spinning out about? So just trust the process, stay in routine like Braith said, and everything gets easier. And everything happens for a reason.
It does.
As well.
I posted something this morning because I get a lot of fathers following me because I started the Strong Dad program, which we're relaunching in a couple of months and renaming and all that, which I've worked really hard on. But and I've said it on here before, I'm really big on mental health but being a dad, and I posted something this morning, and just the responses you get from guys who are doing it tough, and just, whether you're a father or not, it's for, you got the, interest rates, you've got separation through the roof, like a 55% divorce and separation rates. People aren't seeing their kids, people are losing their jobs. There's a lot that goes on, and, that's for men and women, but because we are men, it's something that, just for all the men out there, stay strong, work hard.
Yep.
And there's light at the end of the tunnel.
And that was the hard thing, as I've been a stepdad for 4 years, and that was their my stability and thing that kind of kept me going. So when you kind of lose that, loses your grounding and you start to wobble.
Yeah, no, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Stay strong.
Anyway, enough of being sensible and serious. Let's get back to being fuckwits.
Get out of the glass box of emotion.
Let's have some fun now. Where's
the tissues?
All right, so we're going to start the show with the F-up of the week. There's not always an F-up of the week, and it's probably a bit harsh, this headline for this, but that's how we have our segments. And we're going to reflect on the Bulldogs and the Raiders, both of them finishing first and third respectively throughout the regular season, and both going out in straight sets, shattering for the players, shattering for their fans. And I would say a shock. Definitely the Raiders a shock.
Yeah.
And probably a couple of months ago, you would have said there's no way this would have happened to the Bulldogs. But with the Bulldogs' form over the past few months, it's probably not a shock, right? So let's dive into that, Ren.
Where do you want to start? Which club?
Let's start with the Raiders because the Bulldogs have been, the most talked about in the media since they made that call, right, to sign Galvin, and since they were coming first and pretty much have fallen off a cliff. There's been a lot said about that, which we'll dive and have our opinions on. But let's start with the Raiders. I think the Raiders have gone under the radar because of the Bulldogs. The Raiders, it's hard to say it's a successful year. I know it's harsh, but no one expected them to be coming first. No one. No one predicted them to even be top four, really. So you could say they overachieved, but then because they were so consistent, so good for the whole year, and then positioned themselves to win a premiership, were premiership favourites only a month ago, to go out in straight sets, and I know there's some circumstances that we're going to talk about around it, it's still...
It must hurt.
It hurts, right? But it's a failure.
I couldn't agree more. I thought they'd be able to bounce back from last week against Brisbane or the week before, but the mental scars were still there. And when Sharks put all that pressure on them in the first 20 minutes and they weren't able to score the points they usually score, I think those mental demons, those mental scars started to creep in again. And psychologically, I think Ethan Strange might have been, what would you say? I think that was that little nail in the coffin before the game when he was out sick. You want to, when you go into games, you want all the confidence in the world. And I'm sure they were confident. I'm sure they said all the right things. I'm sure they trained hard. But that I just didn't realise that game against Brisbane probably took more out of them than I thought.
Yeah, the week before was massive. They won it 2 or 3 times. It was always going to be hard to come back from, but we thought because of they were young and the year they were too good a team to not come back. It's evident that it's had an impact on the game on the weekend. The strange one, yeah, you're right, psychologically losing, close to your best player. If he's not your best, he's in your top 2 or 3 there for the Raiders. And such a key player in their halves who comes up with such big plays so often, and they're not, they're not spectacular plays. Some are, but like majority, his carries are just
his carries,
momentum. Yeah, momentum, invaluable. His defense is great.
Yep.
He's tough.
Yep.
He's turned into a leader. So that was heartbreaking to have him out the day of the game. And I have heard since that Ricky was pretty shattered about that the day of. And I think that mood may have carried into the performance. Now, to the performance, you mentioned the start of the game. You're watching the game, and the Raiders were shocking in attack. Yeah, I know Strange was out, but they completely lost their way.
Yeah.
They were rudderless.
Yeah.
And they were up 6-0, but you're watching the game going, as soon as Cronulla get the ball back and as soon as they control the football, this game is over.
Yeah.
That's how lost they looked.
I agree.
And it was only a matter of time. It was 12-6 at half time, but the game was over.
Yep.
Because
I agree.
The Raiders hadn't fired a shot. They looked lost. Fogarty was exposed. Poor bloke. Like how many times have I said it on this podcast? The question mark over him, and I think he could be the Achilles heel for them. I've said it for months, and I hate that I'm right. I was right because, he didn't know the team. His attacking kinks weren't good. He put a couple of good spirals up. You could tell that he just in terms of game management and execution and all of it, he was nowhere. And it just shows how important Strange was to him as well, and the loss and the impact it had on him. But it was. That's why I don't want to make too many excuses because, yes, Strange was out, and yes, the week before they were sensational and beaten horrifically, like in circumstances. That wasn't a good performance on the weekend.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's tough. You got a back rower playing
Kaya
6.
Weeks.
Kaya Weeks, young,
He was nowhere.
Nowhere. And that comes with experience as well, like.
And Fogarty had to bring him in too, though. That's another thing. You can't blame Fogarty for everything, but you look at Reece Walsh at Brisbane and whoever's playing in the halves, you got to give him the ball at the right time.
Was he a manufactured fullback? Because I believe he played in the halves. Because at the start of the year at fullback, he was terrible, especially under the high ball. He couldn't catch, and then he developed and developed and developed, and then he comes to the big stage where there are levels in semi-final football.
But he was great the week before.
But he had Strange as well.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it was his capabilities at fullback. I think it was just. And what you're saying is right. Maybe it was the big moment that got the better of him.
Well, see, someone like Reece Walsh is in his about 5th year of first grade.
Yeah.
He's understood the game now where I need to do something, I need to produce something, where KO was sitting back, waiting for his moment, waiting for that ball on the ground, waiting for an opportunity to show his class, show his speed. He's developing as a first grader.
Yeah.
Where do you fit in?
Yeah, I think it showed their lack of experience in in his position because someone like a Tedesco, if a half's ruled out, you still see him on every play, in every play, support play and positional play. And Edwards the same. Whether they play good or not, they're in the game.
Yeah.
They know how to just make themselves present and have an impact regardless of who's the halves or the 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
So how would you? Ricky was filthy after the game. How would you assess their season then?
I can't not have them nearly favourites next year.
And look at this. They were $61 rank outsiders at the start of the season. This is the original market.
So they were tipped. They were actually tipped by the betting to come last.
Which is
So that's why it's hard to rate them because, and I talked to this at the start. Like they overachieved, but then they didn't. You know what I mean? Like they had the team to win a comp, and they showed that against Brisbane the week before.
Yep.
So it's a disappointment, and I'd have to say, although it was a very good year, and they gave the fans and all of us so much entertainment and excitement, and it has to be a disappointment.
Absolutely. To go out and Tracey said, especially at home, it's disappointing. But the silver lining in all of this is a good learning experience.
Yeah.
And it'll be a huge focus in their preseason, because it hurts. It hurts. 06 when we got knocked out in a prelim against Brisbane, we're up 20-6 and they put 30 on us in the second half. And I never got an opportunity to play Brisbane again, to all play in another prelim.
Yeah.
But that still sits with me. It hurts in my stomach that was our year. And I can say that'll be a driving force for them for next year. And I can't see them not being probably top two favourites next year. Top two.
Well, they got the same team without Fogarty.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, they've got Ethan Sanders, who was under 19s New South Wales half, that they were pretty hesitant to play this year. Yeah. I'm actually in talks with them at the moment around Jonah for next year. Not sure where that's going to land, but that would be interesting because they've got such a great team.
So what would be holding Sanders back? What would is Ricky doing it the right thing by not throwing him into the fire, into the furnace too early, and bringing someone like Jonah, who's a first grade half and ready to roll?
I think what they'd probably give Sanders, even if Jonah went there, which is still, it's not even close. They'd probably give Sanders the first crack out of loyalty. Okay. But I think Jonah's got him covered. But, I think, with Sanders, I don't think he's knocked him out of the ballpark with everything, whether it be training or his reserve grade or whatever. There's still a hesitation there whether he's ready or the right man to take him to a premiership. But,
okay.
But they're going to be top 4 next year, I believe. I can't see them going backwards in that department.
Yep.
They just need to ice their moments, and they had a bit of bad luck too. You need things to go your way to win a premiership, and that the game against the Broncos into Strange being ruled out day of, that hasn't helped them.
It just flipped the script, didn't it? Sorry, go.
No, bro. Remember I went to that sportsman's lunch, I told you Ricky Stewart spoke at it, and they asked him about what do you think about the finals. And there was this hesitation in his voice. Ricky's so passionate. And there was this hesitation about young players, big moments, those sort of things. Yeah. And it really set me back. I went, there's almost like a lack of belief deep inside of him. So for what you said of when Strange got ruled out, that echoed into the whole team.
I wouldn't say lack of belief. I'd say uncertainty.
That was
not knowing, because you don't know. When you got a young squad, you can kick ass all year, but we've seen with the cream rising to the top, like the Panthers, like the Melbournes, Brisbane, even the Sharks.
And now the Sharks,
which we'll talk
all
about.
Your fans, we'll get to the Sharks.
We'll get to all this, but that just shows the difference of club game to semi-final games. All right, let's get to the Bulldogs. Yep. Now the Bulldogs, I must say, we tipped them. I think we were tipping with our hearts more than our head, let's be honest. We wanted them to win more than anyone, not only on the weekend, but we wanted them to win the competition. We've been critical of some of their decisions and selections, but that doesn't mean we don't want them to win or think they can win. Yep. We're a podcast who tells it how we see it. Yep. I'm going to talk to the comments that Gus made a little later. I've seen some ex-players that are employed by the Canterbury Bulldogs conveniently having cracks at ex-players, having so-called pot shots at the Bulldogs. I think the problem with those guys is they are handcuffed and they say what they think is best for the Bulldogs PR team, more so than the reality of the situation. The thing that shits me before we get into it is when fans, because I get a lot of split. I get a heap saying, mate, you're so right. Keep saying what you're saying. Then I get a heap going, oh, mate, stop shitting on us. You're an ex-player. Why would you do that to your club? I don't sit here to shit on anyone. I sit and I support their team. But that doesn't mean that because you support them and love them and you want them to win a comp, and I've won a comp for them, I have the right to say, hang on, that's not okay. Yeah. That's not right because I give a shit and I care. It pisses me off when you see, all these other people just sort of singing the praise and saying, oh, we're sweet. We're going to win the comp in 5 years' time. It's a future thing and we didn't derail this year. Sexton wasn't good enough anyway. Let's look at the reality. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the stats. Let's look at the results.
Yep.
And everything points to they made some poor decisions this year.
Yep. I agree. I saw Gus's comment about we had 3 buys. We played Parramatta twice. We played Dragons twice. We played Titans twice. I kind of found it a little bit disrespectful to the playing squad. It was almost like saying, hey, we were good, but we weren't that good. And I understand what he's saying. But when you are not playing the top-level competition, and I looked at the draw, and we'd spoken about it and I said, look at the back end of the season. This is when the real test comes.
Right.
But given the draw and where they were sitting, you are building cohesion. You are building trust. You are building, something to look forward to or to be able to nail towards the back end of the season. All of a sudden, we throw a little firecracker in the middle of it and things go tits up.
Yeah.
I will say, though, it was evident that they definitely didn't have the squad to. You look at what Penrith are doing now, what the Sharks are doing now, what Brisbane are doing now, what the Raiders were doing. They didn't have the squad to win the comp.
They're like a pack.
Yeah, we know that. But they definitely had an element of self-sabotage.
Definitely.
There was too much overthinking in what sort of team they needed to play, and I don't know, Braith. What's your thoughts?
I think it's evident now that they weren't going to win the comp because they can't, because they're out, right? Like, at the time, we even questioned whether Toby Sexton was the right man to win the comp or to take them to a competition, and that was their Achilles heel, and they lacked an extra forward. We said that the whole year. Now, we got to that middle stage of the year and we changed our mind. We both sat here and said we think they can win the comp.
Yep.
And we said that they could win the comp with Sexton.
Yep.
Within weeks, coming first, they dropped him or moved him or bought Galvin. I'm just going to get straight to this, my blow-up of the week.
Okay.
Because while we're here, I may as well talk about it.
Yep.
My blow-up of the week this week is about the great Gus Gould.
I'm looking forward to this one.
I just, I watched his comments on, well, didn't watch the show, but you see him on socials, and then I watched him last night on 360 because I hadn't watched what he'd said until I was live on air. Right. And I was like, I got my back up because I'm like, what the fuck? Are you actually serious? So just on that. So Gus said that the media's been childish, out of line.
I did see that, sorry.
A barrage from the media. He pretty much, what he did was he made this into a media versus Galvin situation. And he's as I said, he's one of the smartest minds in our game, but he knows the media more than anyone, right? And what he's doing is he's taken the focus away from the decisions that he's made this year. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that he's acting like he's trying to help Galvin and he's protecting Galvin, but he has done the opposite. Now, Gus Gould said that Galvin was the best talent that he's ever seen, right? Then he went and bought him. Then he put him into 7, right? He said last night, or whenever it was when that show's on, he said that he's not a 7, never been a 7, never played 7, but let's pay $800,000. Let's remove our 7 when we're coming first, and let's put Lachlan Galvin in at 7.
I saw that.
A huge contradiction. Now, if anyone is stupid enough to listen to this guy and think that and believe it, the fans believe it, like this, it's just been the biggest contradiction ever. And the thing that's got to be made clear here is no one has ever criticised Galvin for the player he is or the player he's about to become.
Yes.
Yep.
He's going to be, I wouldn't say a superstar yet because I haven't seen enough. He's going to be a great player for a long time. 10-year first grader, no doubt. I've said from the start he's a 5'8", but he's not. But no one's ever personally attacked this kid.
No
one's personally attacked him. Everyone has been critical of his play and critiqued his performances because of what we've seen him do for the Bulldogs jersey. Now, the Bulldogs and Gus have turned this into an attack on that kid. No, it's not. We're coming at you, Gus. We're asking you the questions.
Yep.
We're saying, well, why did you make that decision if he wasn't a 7? Why did you make that mid-season? Why did you make that call? Why did you put him in that position?
Yeah.
Why did you move the hookers around and rotate the hookers and change the way that they were going? Why did you make those decisions mid-season when you were coming first? You were coming first. Your attack was, I think their attack was fifth in the competition they were when they were coming first. By the end of the season, they were 15th. They dropped 10 spots in attack. Their defence was in the top 2 or 3. In defence, it dropped down to about 6. So their defence was still okay. But, like, you know, you can't sit here and listen to that and him turn on the media when he sits there and he's the one that created this. He's the one that put a bullseye on that young kid's head. He's the one that should be apologising to Lachlan Galvin.
Yeah.
Not the media. Yeah. Because the media storm has been based around comments that he has made and decisions that Gus Gould has made.
100%.
And to try and manipulate everyone and say, you know, it's all of us. Like, again, I'll reiterate, no one has personally attacked Lachlan Galvin. No. You know, no one. And then no one has said he's not going to be a star. No one has said it's not a good decision for the Dogs in the future. But to jeopardise a season, to jeopardise the position they were in and the chance of winning a competition they haven't won since 2004 to look 2 or 3 years ahead, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the reason that I also talk to this is because I talk to players, CEOs, journos every day, right? And I look at Penrith. Gus is a genius at setting up at pathways and setting up rosters. He did it at Penrith.
Yep.
And he's done it at the Bulldogs.
Yep.
But look what happened.
Yeah.
As soon as he left, they won 4 comps.
Yeah.
Now the Bulldogs
Potentially
now,
5.
Potentially 5, right?
Yep.
And okay, one thing also that Gus did, when Ivan Cleary, when they wanted him back at the Panthers and Gus was in charge, he said, no, Ivan Cleary's too tired. He didn't want him. Wow. Ivan Cleary came back. No, Gus goes, 4 comps going for 5.
Yeah,
I could go through a number of players that he's signed, had opinions of, and all that. But we've all done that. I've said that.
Yeah.
I remember being critical of Cleary when he first started and saying Mitchell Pearce was a better player than him.
Yep.
You know, we all own our mistakes and make comments and make statements that you know we get it wrong. But you just got to own it sometimes.
Yeah.
I've never seen him own anything. But that you know that's one thing. But again, I don't want to go on too much further with this. But what he said the other night on 100% footy. Mate, honestly, I think I've explained it well enough, but it pissed me off, and it's just it's classic Gus.
I'm gonna liken Gus to someone. I've worked out who he is.
Well, we've already got our opinion.
You know who he is? He's Bill Clinton. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, and everyone just goes, "Oh, okay."
He's got so much power.
He's got so much. People just go, "Oh, Gus said it." No, he did not.
Mate, the messages I get from Dogs fans,
it's incredible.
And
though.
I can't write back to all of them. But a lot of them I try and talk through because a lot of them are irrational and stupid. But a lot of them, if they're like sensible to me and you know say, Braith, why are you saying this? Or I'll tell them. Yeah. And then by the end of it, they're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, but it's Jerry Jones. You referred to him last week. But like again, I don't want to make this personal against Gus, but because he may not be having a shot at me, but he could be. I don't know. But even the guys I work with, it's all been created because of him.
It's been bizarre. Like you've said it perfectly, Braith. I can't even back. I don't have nothing else to say on the topic because you've just laid it out perfectly.
And I spoke to the Bulldogs and Cameron Serrato, and when they were trying to get this, Galvin's the right man, Sexton isn't.
Yep.
I spoke to him, I heard him, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to support my team. I'm going to support my club, no matter whether I agree with it or not. I'm backing my team.
Yep.
And I did that, and I got egg on my face.
Yep.
But now that I switched back and go, you know what, they were wrong.
Yep.
People think that you've got something in. It's got nothing to do with me and the Bulldogs.
You just put your hand.
Did Gus win a comp playing for the Bulldogs? I don't know. I know he coached one.
He coached one, yeah.
We've got the right to have our opinion. You know what I mean? And we talk to other ex-players from the Bulldogs and greats of our game. You're talking not only who won premierships with the Bulldogs, but you're talking Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith, Billy Slater. They're on Channel 9.
Yeah.
They've all said the same thing as us every week. But then, Gus just looks down the camera and does the old bullshit throw off, it's the media, what a beat up. We don't listen to them anyway. Well, obviously you fucking do because you always got a retaliation to anyone who comments in it.
Yep.
Anyway.
Can we talk about next year?
Yeah, let's go.
For me, and I'm going to premise this by saying, I love the club and I love these players. Birdo needs to go to fullback because he doesn't get involved enough. If he doesn't get into contact early, he just sets up for a kick.
Yep.
Burton, fullback. Mitch Wood, Galvin, give him a go at halves. Just they're your starting halves next year. Sherry, what will he be? Left centre, Critter right centre. You got Leo Thompson coming in. Still not enough. For me, I look at the use of their back rowers, right?
Yep.
You got two of the best fucking back rowers in the competition. Use them more. The way Jacob Preston's hits a line, kicks. You start hitting the same fucking line. Don't worry about trying to get to a centre and do your little things. Just pepper your halves. The way they use their back rowers this year, and then they decided to use it in the second half against Penrith, there's the blueprint there. You look at the way Thurston played, and Thurston had Gavin Cooper, right? And he'd download plays. Andrew Johns had
Kennedy and
Simpson, right? Hit short.
Cooper, Cronk, Hoffman.
Right? So they chopped the tree.
And Boydie.
Let me try and get this out properly, right? So you've got two of the best back rowers. You use them early. You pepper the fucking opposition halfback. You give them nightmares. All of a sudden, you download. The opportunity comes. You play out the back. You get opportunity on the edges. They're two of your strike players. Bulldogs are in this thing at the moment. They're a young side where all they can think about is getting to a point. We need to get to this point to put that play on. Thurston used to go, I'll give you an example. I watch his game closely. If it was a slow ruck, he'd either turn it inside to Matt Scott or just hit Gavin Cooper. No, we'll go back there again. Use your back rowers properly. That was just one thing that they need to identify in using because they still don't have enough strike next year. But Birdo needs to go
that's
to
the
fullback.
takeaway for me right now. So, well said about all that. Burton, fullback. If you're a Dogs fan or even anyone in our game, the ears prick up when you say that. And I said this months ago that was what I would do when Galvin signed. Remember I said that? I would have put Galvin and Sexton and put Burton at fullback just to try it. And Tracey, great year. But talk about big games, big moments, big players. Look at all the fullbacks that are in the finals right now. You know, apart from Kennedy's got a bit of a question mark over him. And the big game players and Tracey on the weekend, he fell short. But just with Burton, and we have spoken about this a while ago. Now, you're with this season coming, and I agree with you with Mitch Woods and Galvin and, and Bailey at 9 or whatever they go there. But why him? How do you think that would work?
With Burton
for fullback, yeah.
I've played with players like this before. If they don't get in contact early, they don't get into the game.
The first thing I used to be, that was my thing I'd write on my wrist, get a touch early, take a hit.
I'm not going to mention a player who I played inside who I love, but before every game I said, do not even fucking look at me. You are taking a carry. Get into contact. Get your head into the game. The moment Birdo went to centre against Melbourne, starts running the fucking ball, right? In fullback, he has no choice. He can still set up for his kick. Carraz can still take the fifth tackle fucking carry where they get a quick play of the ball, they kick it downfield. But unless Birdo has got his hands on the ball as much as possible, it's not at 6 because it's too few and far between where he's getting into contact.
That's why I like fullback for him. I think you're on the ball more. You're bringing the ball back every carry.
He has to be.
And he's such a big body. He's 6'4". He's probably over 100 kilos. He's a big boy, but he's fit. He's fast. Because fullbacks need to be like an extra half. That means he's not only supporting every ruck play, but he's also playing off back at the 6 and 7, either inside, out the back. He's got a great passing game, so he can create his own 3-on-2 on the edges either side, and his kicking game still exists. Yep. You can like Latrell, you can still use your fullback as your main kicker. Definitely it changes down in good field position, but you don't need him when you're putting in attacking kicks and you've got Woods and Galvin. He can be chasing and he can still come up with a kick if he wants, but he's got all the skills. It's just, and he's got the fitness. It'll just be positional play, and it'd be how he is in defence and getting his numbers right. Yep. But that's something they'd need to work on all preseason. But that's something that I would look at because at the moment, not all of the pieces of the puzzle fit, even with those changes. And you're not going to move Sherry because he's an out-and-out centre. You don't move Crichton because he's the best centre in the game, if not close. And Burton has been a bit of an everywhere man at the moment. He hasn't nailed 5'8". He's been great at 5'8", and in the centres he's been amazing. But it's like if there's one player, and you know what, he might leave because I've heard murmurs, and Dean Ritchie said it last night. He might not want to move from 5'8" or centre or fullback. He may want to just be one. He may think he's best at one position, which I think is 5'8", and he may go, you know what, guys, if you're going to move me, I'm out of here. And I reckon they may let it happen.
I don't like that kind of attitude from a fucking player.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's his attitude.
That kind of annoys me because I like Bird. I like him a lot. He's a lovely bloke. He always comes and shakes my hand. His position is not 6, right? And they didn't have the luxury of taking him out of 6. He was the best
why he left
option
Penrith.
for 6. But I think
play 6.
Yeah.
I think his best position would be
1
at fullback.
Well, I think it's definitely worth it. I reckon because if you look at that team, and you've got a young gun, one of the best coming through in Woods, and he just needs to find his feet. Galvin's got a year or two under his belt now, and went through all the drama of this year, and he's playing in his preferred position. You've got a really good outside backs and forward pack, and forward pack could be a little bit better. But if you can nail Burton at fullback, you get to that. You get into new levels again. You get into that levels where you are genuine premiership contenders. All right, that's enough for them. That was pretty deep. And you know what? Like, that's how we are on this 180 podcast. If you want to listen to the fluff, go somewhere else. But let's get to, where are we now? You know what? I skipped this to get to the blow up. Reni's fireball hot take. Don't need to spend a heap on this, but Reni's fireball hot take for this week is
Nathan Cleary. How can I not go past him, mate? He's just so clinical, so methodical with everything he does. He's 40-20s. He's just ability to get the team around the park. He looks fresh. Fuck. I can't not have them as favourites to win 5 in a row. So, my fireball hot take is Mr. Cleary.
Nathan Cleary. What a performance. Like, the way that he plays, I love how he's just so poised and he just plays so square. But at every time he can run, at every time he's got a short option, he's got an out the back, or he's so square that he can kick. So he's got 4 options minimum at every single time he touches it, and he plays fast, he plays slow, he's got great support play back up the middle.
His timing
is impeccable. His kicking game is sublime. And, the best thing about all this is when it's a bigger, more important game, it goes up levels. It goes up to a place that no one else can get to.
I do have a question, though.
Oh, I've turned away.
I just got one question. Were Penrith that good, or were Dogs that bad?
We're going to find out this weekend, and I don't disagree. I do not know. They do not. What I do know is that Penrith were almost perfect in that first half,
course.
And they could have taken their foot off the accelerator. They completed 20 from 20, but you know what? 42 missed tackles. They outpowered, outmuscled. They had offloads, got to the edges. There was misreads on the edges from the Bulldogs. So they were made to look probably better than what they were. Alamotti was outstanding.
How good was he?
But he came up against that poor kid.
You know what? There was like I'm not taking anything away from Alamotti, but he bumped off a lot of players to get to the fucking try line as well.
Mate, he did 2 or 3 times. He looked like Jalen Lomu.
I know. But I mean, up against the best sides, they make those tackles.
Of course they do.
So there were opportunities to shut him down. And again, not taking anything away from Alamotti. He still had to do the work. He's a beast. He's a great player.
But we'll talk about this a bit more in the preview too. Because when we get to, the Broncos and Panthers, I think we'll probably expose why Panthers are a bit vulnerable, because I know you've got some ideas, and also why Brisbane are a big chance.
I want to throw a spanner in the works. Is Nathan that good, or is Ivan that good? Because is Nathan the best systematic half we've ever seen? Because he hasn't done all those things that you've said when he's played Origin. So when you've taken him out of that Penrith system...
I've got a bit of an opinion, right? So
I've
actually thought about this a bit when it comes to...
Wow, all of them like that. The whole team.
Because when you think... I'll
half
tell
the
you
team
why.
was in Origin a few years back.
Yeah, but so when you look at it though as well, look at all the halves. Remember we used to be injured. Who were the halves that filled in for him? You can barely remember them.
Schneider.
But they still get a job done.
Mate, they looked like they were going to be superstars. They went else, and now they're barely playing reserve.
They also get a job. You're right.
They go elsewhere, and they can't do it.
He has perfected club footy, semi-final football, grand finals. that doesn't transfer into Origin
It doesn't.
because, as you know, Braith,
Different game.
different game, and that's what I saw. Just quickly, just to like,
You got less time or less space.
yeah. So he's getting too deep into the line in Origin, and that's something that I picked up on. I thought you got to give the ball a bit earlier to the edges. He will perfect it, but you can't play the same way he does for Penrith in Origin.
That's a great example because you have every time they've picked a number of players from Penrith in Origin, it hasn't worked.
Right.
And I remember, I think it was in Adelaide, and they had the gun Penrith team, but Queensland GM, and we spoke to this during Origin. But it's a good point that you make.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Have a look at Cogger. Look at Cogger used to fill in.
Doesn't matter because it's this time of the year.
Yeah, I know, but
and it's irrelevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a good point.
It's a good point. Like it's because I have thought about it, and it's just if he changes his style a little bit, a fraction,
Tinker.
just tinker it a little bit in Origin. Like he's in the GOAT conversation. Let's
Of
fucking
course
let's
he is.
be
of course
real.
he is.
Of course,
but
let's be fucking real.
But everyone
100%
just
is.
goes, Nathan makes Ivan's job so good, easy.
It's a both.
It's
Goes
both.
both ways.
I think
I had a
But he looks tired, Ivan, though, at the moment.
I had a conversation, and I just want to quickly touch on this with Penrith. I was watching the game with our man Livo and Heidi.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't want Penrith to win. I don't want to see them in another grand final. And you know what I said to her? I said, you know what, Hynes? I can't hate Penrith at all. And I do want to see them in another grand final. And I would not give a shit if they won another grand final. I respect that club, that team, that system so fucking much to be able to turn up to not only the players they've lost, but to turn up in the middle of fucking summer in a preseason and want to go after another premiership. You know how much mental fortitude that takes?
Yeah.
Isn't 4 enough?
Yeah.
We're going to turn up. We want to win 5.
I want to see him do it. I'm one of the I let the Floyd
what I'm
Mayweather.
saying is for that club that those players to turn up every preseason and go, no, we're going again. That's not spoken about enough.
That's not. It's miraculous, really.
You know?
Like it's funny you say that, Reni. It's a great take, and I got to check myself sometimes because I'm thinking I don't want, as much as I respect them more than anyone, and if they win, like even before they win, I think they're one of the if they're close to the greatest team.
Yeah.
And I don't not want them to win, but you look at like other teams and you think it'd be good if Brisbane or you know what I mean, because it's 4 in a row. But then it's funny you said that because I ran into one of the co-owners of My Muscle Chef. And and most people I run into, they go, "Oh, we're sick of Penrith. We don't want them to win." Just the punters.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said, "Oh, mate, Penrith again." He goes, "You know what? I want them to win." I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Mate, because I come from a business background." He goes, "I look at what they've been able to achieve with employees leaving, players leaving." The leadership you need, the standards you need to set. Because he had the mindset of a business owner. Yeah. And he's like, mate, it's incredible. Like, so, and I'm like, it's fascinating. I'm talking to a guy who's highly successful, who's got one of the biggest companies, definitely food in Australia with My Muscle Chef. I'm like, I was thinking, fuck, that's fascinating. Like, this guy sees it for what it is.
Yeah.
He sees through the Penrith, like what they've been able to do as a group. In terms of, everything I just mentioned is fucking crazy.
It's fucking incredible.
All right, let's get to our, not the last segment, but our last before the Unibet preview. Our play of the week. Yes, Sharks fans, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. The play of the week is not just the Sharks, it's their halves.
Yes.
Braden Trindall and Nico Hynes. We've had a lot to say, as everyone has, about their halves and Nico in particular. But what a game it was by the Sharks. I didn't think they could win the comp last week. I do think they can. They're not my favourite, but I think they can off the back of last week. Now, they are fit. They've got no injuries. Their pack is firing, but their halves are combining and both playing
and they're
complementing each other. And their hooker, Blake Brayley.
Yep.
And they are playing out of their skin on the weekend. Reni, how good was it to see?
Obviously, I had not plenty to say, but I was taken back by Nico's comments last week.
Doesn't change it. It's still
Of course, but he went down there and he fucking backed it up.
Yeah.
You know, Trindall was fantastic. Brayley, I have to give Toby Rudolph a massive fucking
Toby.
Like,
He's in career best form.
Mate, we talk about Adam Fanua-Blake, but that 1-2 punch, like Toby is like your no-nonsense, old school front rower that just doesn't want, he will try not to ever miss an assignment. His body language might fucking suck at times, but he's been fucking outstanding.
Yes.
You know, and
Well, you know, Toby's the type of player that sometimes you don't even notice on the field, but you're noticing him at the moment. Like you're seeing it. You're seeing his impact. You're seeing his runs. You're seeing the quick play the balls he's getting. You're seeing his effort areas. Like this has been his best year.
yeah. Billy Burns,
Billy Burns.
Australian schoolboy. I didn't know much about.
That's an Australian name, eh?
Billy Burns.
Don't you like that name?
Yeah, it's
I like that.
Is he from the country?
I'm not too sure, but I was speaking to someone and I
It's
think
not a Greek name, that's for sure.
Burnsy, BB,
Bernopoulos.
BB gun. Mate, he's been outstanding, and to be able to keep Nicker on the bench, I think he was.
That says a lot.
But yeah, like he's one of those big sort of gangly back rowers. He just like he's awkward. And I think he was an Australian schoolboy, kind of maybe. And I'm just presuming that he might have believed in his own hype, and he's done the hard work, defensively strong. But to go back to the halves, mate, to go down to Canberra, we said it. I didn't know they put 40 on Canberra last year. Then they got beat on the bell earlier this year.
Yep.
They go down there in a semi-final. They kind of had their measure, right? They went down there with confidence and they fucking showed it.
I don't want to be, the Grinch or the Debbie Downer, and this is by no means being negative, but like you said with Penrith against the Dogs, were Penrith great? Were the Dogs shit?
Okay.
I see the same with the Sharks. Were they great? It doesn't really matter, but like were they great and the
Canberra
and the Raiders shit? You know what I mean? Like we're going up to Group 1 this week. You know what I mean? Like they're going to Melbourne, and we'll talk more in the preview to that. But it's like we're going to find out where both of them are at. They could win both. They could be the inform, time their runs beautifully. They've both been they're in form. Raiders have won. I mean, Sharks have won 9 of their last 10, more of any other team.
Yeah.
Panthers wouldn't be far behind them. They would be the 2 informed teams in terms of wins.
Yes.
So imagine it's the Panthers Sharks grand final.
Someone had a good point to me because I thought we spoke about the Roosters game and their attack was horrific. And one thing that we said was really good was Cronulla's D.
D, yeah.
And have they just started to suffocate teams in D? And we've just kept going, the other team's attack has been shit. The other team.
Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've had the best attack all year, and I had no idea. Sharks, they just had to tighten up their defence.
Yeah.
Well, I can't correct you because I don't know.
No, I think someone can correct me. And there was one moment when they got beat on the bell against Canberra earlier in the year.
It was the kick to the right.
It was a kick to the
Sebastian
right.
Chris scored it.
The whole right edge of the Sharks' defence did not move.
Yeah.
And I reckon Fitzy showed that all year and said, that is not first grade standard. That is not supporting your teammate. That is not filling the space.
Yeah.
So defensively, they're just getting stronger and stronger all year.
And credit to Craig Fitzgibbon, who, I sort of a few weeks ago on 360 because, mate, there was a period there that was so monotonous in the way they were playing. And I'm thinking they're just rolling again here, and nothing's changing. And they were kind of just before they went on the run. I'm thinking they're no chance this year. But they have lifted. They have lifted regardless of who they've played. And again, their defence that you guys just highlighted is the catalyst. But that's why their attack, if they can keep developing and evolving, which they have had and done. Melbourne's a tough task. Let's get to it. Let's get to the Unibet preview for this week, the prelim finals, and we're going to start with the first game. It is the Sharks up against the Melbourne Storm in Melbourne. Naming of these teams. Now, the Sharks are unchanged, and why would you after last couple of weeks' performances? They are fit, they are firing, and they have no injuries at the right time of the year. Now, for the Melbourne Storm, there are some huge inclusions. Ryan Pappenhausen returns from his HIA, and Jerome Hughes has been named at halfback, dislocated shoulder, broken forearm and all. He has raced the clock and been brought back in. Now, if you look at this lineup of Melbourne, it's a beauty. It is an absolute beauty, but we'll dissect it. But Pappenhausen back, Warbrick, you know what? He was a bit shaky there, but he made up for it in that win against the Bulldogs. Their back row, you know, that Lasardi's that he said he was. I think he's a big boy. Katoa's he's back row of the year. Katoa.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, they've gone with Wishart instead of Pezzett on the bench. We know why, I suppose.
I want to ask a question. Yes, you manage him, all that sort of shit. I genuinely think the best 7 for them, personally, is Pezzett to direct them around the park. Because I think Munster is the best.
Okay, so you'd leave Jerome Hughes out.
No, I'm not saying I'd necessarily leave him out. I think it's a huge risk playing him after what happened way. But, so this is my thing though. I would want, there's obviously a massive chance, either his shoulder, his arm, whatever it could be, could go. Do I want Wishart directing that team? If Jerome Hughes goes down in the first 10, who do you want to come on?
I'll give you my opinion. All right, and you're right. Jerome Hughes has to play. He wants to play. He's fit enough to play. He's Dalian Player of the Year. He is. If he says he's ready, They're more chance of winning the comp with Jerome, you know, and winning this week. Has to, right?
Yep.
My thing is, in my opinion, and yes, I managed Jonah, but I also, because I manage him, I know what he's like as a kid, and I've watched every game he's played. I think he's won nearly every game he's played for him. Maybe lost one close one.
Chooks one.
Yeah, that was the one he lost. But then he played great from man of the match. He got man of the match. He's gone from man of the match to not being in the squad. Now, I know why they've picked Wishart, and I don't think it's a bad move. Wishart's an amazing utility, and he comes on and he can fill the 9, the lock, and all that. And if I'm probably doing the same thing this week, right?
Somewhat.
But what I would say is that where Melbourne got it wrong is when Jerome went down with his shoulder, Bellyache held back on Jonah. When Jonah's been down there doing his apprenticeship for 2 years, Jonah was ready. Bellamy wouldn't throw him in, and then he played Wishart at 7, and Wishart's not a 7 at all. So if he had played Jonah at 7 for that period of the whole time and got him to like sort of have that combination, get to play first grade, you know, play like he did in the final against the Dogs, he may have come into calculations as the 14, because if Jerome goes down, like Aaron said, if he's got a dislocated shoulder, broken forearm, if he goes down in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes of this game, I don't believe they can win with Wishart at 7.
I agree.
If he goes down and Jonah's on the bench, they can win the game with Jonah if he comes in at 7, because he actually unlocks Cameron. And Cameron's good with Jerome, but without Jerome, he's got to run the ball more. He can't. So it's an interesting one. If Jerome can play the game, Wishart is the best choice for 14. If Jerome, depending on his injury, we don't know how bad it is. If he is touch and go and a chance of not getting through it, I would have went with Pez.
He's a massive target this week, that's for sure.
If you're Craig Fitzgibbon, I'm just running everything. At Jerome.
I think this is the most unsettled I've seen Melbourne in years in terms of selection. Would you agree?
What concerns me, Reni, is you're right. You look at the team and you go, and their fans are excited, and that's how they should be, but you go, Pappenhausen, Warbrick, House back in, Meaney back in the centre, Xavier Coates in, Munster and Hughes and but then you break it down and you go, okay, Pappenhausen, and I've been outspoken about it and I don't care. I back this. He has been poor this year. He hasn't been nowhere near his best. If he's at his best, 100%, he's a gun. Like that you want it. But he hasn't been. He's been out of form. He's been in and out of the team with injuries. Warbrick, he's missed the whole year with head knocks. He comes back in. He was scratchy against the Bulldogs, right? Howarth, he was out, came back in. Meaney's been moved around in positions. He was fullback last week, goes back into the centres. Keep moving down. You got Jerome Hughes at half. Now Jerome Hughes, we just spoke to him. Then you go down and their pack, I can't complain about. That's a strong point, but they'll need it up against an informed Cronulla team. And then again, the Wishart thing. Yes, one of the best 14s in the game, if not the best, but who knows what happens to Jerome. And then the rest is a strong bench. But you're right. It's a great team, but they haven't been playing all together and in for the majority of it.
Could you have an argument, go back to that side, to dropping one of those three forwards off the bench?
Could you put him there?
And put him and have and keep him on and have him on the bench.
Yes.
Did you put him at 17?
Look at Alec McDonald. You can't tell me that Wishart couldn't play like Alec McDonald if you needed to.
Yeah.
And Wishart can play 9, but that, again, if it wasn't Cronulla, I mean, Cronulla are going, like, they got full power. Look at that. Brendan Hemlin-Uele, Kafusi, Talakai, and Nakora.
So
that's the only thing I reckon stopping Melbourne from doing that. Look at their bench.
Yep.
They're just going to absolutely just
where they're coming.
All day.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Cronulla go down there with so much confidence because there's so many question marks over Melbourne. They haven't been. I haven't seen that extra gear. You've got players coming back from injury, in key positions in Paps, in Jerome Hughes, and you could say they were scratchy against the Dogs.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Sharks go down there with fucking confidence.
They do.
So I still don't. But my thing was though, I don't think they were very good against the Roosters.
No, they weren't.
Roosters, and can I tell you,
Sharks,
mate, Nico, I watched there. Nico Hynes was bit, mate.
You play what's in front of you.
No, I agree.
I agree with that.
You're going to play as good as what's in
but
front
if you are looking at form lines, like
if Trindall wasn't on the field, I reckon they would still struggle to beat the Roosters.
tell you
okay, but they got the job done.
They did.
I'll tell you what I'm basing my prediction on here is what we've just spoken about nearly this whole show is who performs the best under pressure, big games, bright lights, and I'm going with Melbourne Storm.
See, I've got question marks because of their injuries.
So who you tipping then?
I'm going to go Sharks.
Well, look at the price. So just that's $1.37, 310.
310, mate.
9.5 star.
Okay.
Going.
Tommy Gunn. Going your Sharks, baby.
Yeah,
He's going the Sharks.
All right, let's get to the second game, and this is
It's juicy.
This
Well,
is
let's
juicy.
start the prices.
This is exciting. The Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers. Now, what are the odds?
Yeah, so Unibet odds $1.64 Penrith, $2.27 the Broncos.
Okay, so the Panthers are clear favourites here. The Panthers, understandably so.
There's some massive changes
The way,
here too.
the way they played, last week. But let's get to Brisbane, and I spoke about the changes for Melbourne, and these are just as significant. Adam Reynolds has been selected to play 7. Ezra Mam has been named on the bench at 14. Now that is some fire, I would say. Look at this team. Ezra Mam 14 from fullback down. Reece Walsh, arguably the best player in the competition right now. If it's not him, it's Nathan. So they're going head to head in that regards. Tony Staggs, who we've been all over Reni all year. How good's he going? Shibasaki, Mariner, Karapani, Hunt and Reynolds in the halves. I won't go through the whole team, but these two teams are loaded.
Could we see a replay of that grand final where Brisbane just get off?
Just go to the Brisbane bench, please. Yeah.
Could we see a replay where Brisbane get off to a flying start?
Okay, I want to ask you because I just want to go into some footy, Ren.
Okay.
You saw a vulnerability in Penrith in the second half when Bulldogs played them last week with the defence on the edge.
Talangi and McLean.
Yeah, so you think that's where they'll go, Brisbane?
You have to go there. You have to go there. They have improved throughout the season.
That's the left edge of the fence, right?
So that's their left edge, yeah.
Reece prefers the left, though, in attack, the right side of the fence. He can play both.
There you go.
But that's where Reece, he just swings around. He's flying. So but still he'll be going there. I'm not saying he's not going to go there. Okay. He needs to go there.
Yeah,
of course.
Is that Staggs' side?
Stag is right centre.
Yeah, so Staggs is on that side.
Yes, he is too.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. You've got it right here.
Yep. What I will say about this game is that if you're going on form again, 60 minutes of the game against Canberra, Brisbane weren't fucking great. Really. It was one player that fucking turned it on and won them that game.
They didn't have Reynolds and they didn't have Ezra Mam too, though.
Both coming back from injury. So that plays into it more, that Penrith are fresh.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
They're in form.
With you.
There's a lot of. I have more question marks over Brisbane.
You're going Penrith Sharks grand final, aren't you?
I think I am.
Wow. The one thing that you did say though, the fact when Reynolds is not there, it brings Reece more into the game.
But Reynolds, it did and it does, but Reynolds is too experienced and too good, and he doesn't overplay his hand, Reno. He's not that type of player. I reckon he's sitting back going, okay, let's just get our shapes on. Let's get to where we need to get to, and let's get Reece the ball. And Reece needs to come in and demand it too, because he was getting one off the ruck sometimes. He needs to swing to the short sides, to the open, stay busy, and look for the numbers, and because his speed and his power through his legs, and mate, he just beats defenders one-on-one. He gets them second guessing, and if you just a half second too slow, he's got you beaten. And the players around him then create space for them as well. Mate, just get in the ball as much as you can. But you got Ben Hunt got interviewed after the game, the Raiders semi, and he said, I played like shit, but he kicked that field goal. But as he's getting interviewed, he's like, mate, all my job was to get Reece the ball at the right time. So their mindset is that.
Yeah.
They got two of the most experienced halves. It's the most experienced half combination in the comp.
In the comp right now.
They know where the ball's got to go when it's got to get there, and it's funny because both these players are two of the greats, but they've also got demons.
I was going to say.
Like, they got demons in big games.
Look at Ben Hunt's just sitting here waiting for a high ball.
Yeah, mate. He's going. What a story it is for him, going back to win a comp when he could have cost them a grand final. And then you got Reno only a couple of years ago who had it sewn up, and he was probably the one that didn't play his best in that last 20 minutes. Anyway, but Penrith we've spoken a lot about, so we know what they're going to bring. We know how they're going to play. It's just whether the flair and whether the bubble bursts for Brisbane or they just ride this wave of momentum. I'm actually going to go Brisbane. I'm going to go Brisbane-Melbourne grand final.
Yeah, you know who I'm going. I think the Penny Panthers will knock
So we're going complete opposites. This is going to be
So you're against your Reni's roughies.
Well,
the dream's over.
Don't worry about that. I'm just going off form, right? Yeah. I think Penrith have just peaked at the right time. Everything they did throughout the season, resting players around Origin, having that week off when they put the reserve grade side on. They're on a trajectory. Brisbane, I have question marks because of Reno, Ezra Mam.
Yep.
They're coming back from injury. They've had a week off. Sometimes a week off is the worst thing that can happen, honestly. It is a great thing. You get a rest, but sometimes for a team like Brisbane, I don't know if the week off could be detrimental to them.
I think at the end of the day, I think we've said enough about these games. Either team can win. I think it's that open that easily any team could end up in the grand final out of both games.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Yep. So with zero confidence.
So that's it. We're done.
Yep, cash out for all you followers of Reni. You got the $8. Cash out at the 3.
That's right, Gil. Let it ride. I reckon Broncos are a chance.
Of course they're a chance.
Enjoy the footy this weekend, guys, and we'll see you next week for the GF.
Let's go.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.